Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic, an interesting one today. Russia is threatening, the internal revolution is getting closer, and the death of the dollar is getting closer. Now, before I get started, this is Wednesday at about 3 o'clock. I'm making this, so tomorrow, Thursday at 1 o'clock, I'll be rolled into surgery. I would appreciate your prayers. Also, you may have noticed I have not been saying we're in a financial bind for the last couple of weeks. Frankly, that's because Genesis Gold helped us out, but that has largely run out. So if you appreciate Prophecy Club and if God has blessed you and you can help us, we really appreciate it. Okay, on to the topic today, Russia. We're going to start with Russia, but there's more. Flash, Tomahawks to Ukraine is approved. This is the very thing that we have been praying against, that fast gap. We have about 850 people that fast and pray for America. Now, you recall, this was back in July, and it actually started in February. Michael Snyder had an audible voice come to him in the night and say, look, you need to be praying that Trump is not going to anger the Russians, because that's sort of what he does in his negotiating tactics. And he was saying that if you threaten the Russians, it is ultimately going to backfire severely. Now, I want to believe that we're still several years away from the Russians attacking. I said I want to believe that, but I can't guarantee that. But I can guarantee you, if we don't pray, the Russians, okay, fine. They don't make as much money. They're not as happy. They're not as great a nation. But God, in his infinite planning, has arranged to get them more advanced weapons than what he's given us. Why? Because he knows that this nation is in the process of falling. As a matter of fact, with the people parading down Portland naked, nude, the other day, I started to make a broadcast saying, Portland is fallen, is fallen. Well, it's not just Portland, and it's not just Chicago or Los Angeles. Most of the nations, well, like the angel told Dimitri, that in the church there's all kinds of sin: abortion, fornication, sodomy, what else was it? Abortions, all kinds of sin. So there's all kinds of sin in our nation, and as I explained to a racquetball buddy the other day, and you'll enjoy this story. He's, I don't know, we've been playing racquetball together for 10, 12 years, okay? He's an immigration attorney. And we talked when immigration was tough, when Trump was in charge and nobody was coming into the nation. Of course, Biden came in, and then a lot of people came into the nation. He got real busy. So I asked him this past Saturday, we were playing, I said, so how's business? He said, we can't keep up. I said, let me guess. I said, because Trump's now in, you're not getting as many people coming over the border, but people are banging down your door trying to get right with their immigration status. He said, you got it. Now, he said, by the way, what's so bad about immigration anyway? And I said, well, if you look at it from a political point of view, I can see where you say, well, it's not so bad, especially if you're a Democrat, seeing that these people, some 20 million of them coming over the border now, are probably going to be Democrat voters. And from a political point of view, you can say, oh, that's good. I said, but now let me explain from God's eyes point of view. I said, so the cleaner a nation is, so try to imagine a cup or a glass of pure water. That represents a nation of Christians that have no sin or very, very little sin. But as the nation begins to sin, and that would be like if you were to drop a few grains of sand in, and then more, and then more, and then finally maybe even a teaspoon or a tablespoon full of sand or mud into that water and stir it. I said, right now, with some 20 million people coming into our nation that are probably not Christians, I mean, after all, they broke our law coming into our nation, and we've already seen that Tom Homan is saying that 70% of the people that they are arresting are criminals. So with that many more bad people coming to the nation, God does not look at it as saying, oh, well, those don't count. He looks at the entire sin or goodness, the righteousness or the sin of a nation. He looks at the whole thing. He sees everyone's heart. And so what happens when you dump 20 million dirty-hearted people or sinful people into a nation? It brings us much closer to a destruction. In other words, when we're clean, we get blessed. When we're not clean, we get cursed until finally destroyed. So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a nation that has fallen from Christ. I saw another angel come down from heaven, having power, great glory. The earth was lightened with his glory, and he cried with a loud voice, saying, Babylon has fallen, has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Yeah, I memorize the book of Revelation. Which, speaking of, so my new book, let me take just a second and tell you kind of an update. The new book is called The Pentecost Rapture of the Bride. Notice it didn't say Pentecost rapture of the church, because not everybody goes to the wedding. In other words, if they don't have any oil, they don't have their lamps trimmed, if they're sleeping, or if they're surfeiting and drunken with the sinners, they don't get to go to the marriage supper. Anyway, that has been accepted by Thomas Nelson, Zondervan, and Westbow Press, which is the #1 Christian publishing company in the world, and they and I think it's going to go someplace. It could turn out to be a very popular book. I appreciate your prayers for that. But now a lot of people are calling and saying, well, how do I get the book? Well, we're still working on the cover. So I'm going to say, I keep saying this, it's probably 4 to 6 weeks away, hopefully. But we are going ahead and take pre-orders. So if you want to pre-order the book, same as the other ones, $20 for one book. Don't do that. It's you can get, I think with this one would be 10 for $35. 10 for $35. They may say 5 for $35, but it'll be 10 for $35. So that's a great deal. Why? Because we want you to give them away. We want you to get them in the hands of the other people. What's it going to do? It's going to give you a lot of hope, because I believe God showed me in a revelation how the rapture really takes place. The answer is it takes place on the last Pentecost, which is about 4 months. Remember, Jesus says that there yet 4 months and then the harvest. That's what it means. 4 months from the Feast of Pentecost to the Feast of Trumpets, which is Armageddon. And I don't think we go through the whole thing. I know you're probably saying, wait a minute, you've been post-trib for 25 years. Yes, I know. But when God shows you the truth, you got to tell the people the truth. And so, yeah, I'm willing to throw my name, my reputation away. It means nothing to me. All that counts to me is just getting the truth. Anyway, yes, you can place an early order for that at 785-266-1112. I don't think they have it up on the website yet, so I'll repeat that phone number. 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. You can place an early order for rapture. Try it again. Pentecost rapture of the bride. Pentecost rapture of the bride. Okay, now back to this. Okay, so this is the very thing that we've been praying that Trump would not do. He would not threaten the Russians. He's already told China and India that he doesn't like them buying oil from Russia, because that is supporting the Russia-Ukraine war. That's supporting Russia's, in other words, they're helping the war when they do that. He's asked them not to. But he's thinking about possibly doing some tariffs that could be pretty devastating to India and China if they were to continue to buy Russian oil. My point being is, brothers and sisters, we got to pray that Trump does not anger Putin, does not anger the Russians. They have the capabilities now. They don't have to develop them. They have the capabilities right now to take out our nation. Anyway, so it goes on to say here that the thing that Michael Snyder was warned of, that we should be praying that Trump does not anger, you can pause and read it if you want to, does not anger the Russians, is exactly what Trump is in the process of doing. So I encourage you to pray that way. And a very good way to do that would be to go to prophecyclub.com, slide to the bottom, and join Fast Gap. That's the people that fast and pray for our nation every Tuesday night to Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. And you just don't drink, don't eat anything. You can still have coffee and juice and things like that. But the whole point is, it's the same prayer, the same people, and the same fast, all the same day. And the Bible says one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. So when you join some 850 other people fasting and praying for a nation, it's a spiritual sledgehammer. Now, let me read a couple of things. Okay, so the Russians, let me jump to the middle here. The Russians have a superior military in several ways. They have black hole submarines, kind of like the movie Hunt for Red October. Okay, that was a movie back in the 80s, and that was old technology then. Now, they have several black hole submarines. We can't track them. They can be right off the coast of our city, and as Henry Groover was shown, that it's 60 seconds from launch to detonation. Right now, Russia has the capability to destroy America in 1 hour, as was it 4 different verses in Revelation says will happen. They also have hypersonic ballistic nuclear tipped multi-reentry vehicle warheads. In other words, yeah, they can fire one from Russia, but they don't have to. They can fire them from submarines that are, as Henry saw, parked on our beaches. And each one has up to 8 city-killing nuclear warheads each. So one submarine could take out all of America. I mean, how many nuclear weapons does it take to destroy us? My opinion, probably one. I mean, we'd never be the same nation again. Just one Russian submarine can park on our beaches and destroy 8 major cities. Russia claims to have 8,000 nuclear warheads, and they are now making more as fast as they can. They have about 64 to 65 submarines. They can destroy America and will destroy America in 1 hour. Look, when it's in 6 chapters in the Bible, it's going to happen. And I can tell you right now, I'm not going to get to everything I wanted to say today. I have to move on here. I'll never get to it. Okay, internal revolution. New headlines. Mexican cartels are offering up to $50,000 bounties to kill ICE and border agents. Okay, I mean, have we made the Mexicans mad? Yes, we have. Just like again, got to raise up. Then Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and 2 other countries will attack and defeat America in 1 hour. This is part of it. We've made Mexico and the cartels so angry, they're paying our gang members, tied to the Latin Kings, positioned spotters on the rooftops in Chicago and other places that are equipped with firearms and radios, tracking ICE and CPP agents in real time. How long is it going to be before the bullets start flying in both directions? How long is it going to be before there's blood in our streets between, quote, some of the people will start fighting against the government? My brothers, it could be any day now. I don't see how we're going to get much into 2026 without it happening. Here's another article. Los Angeles County pushes plan to use taxpayer funds for illegal immigrants. So what we're looking at is Los Angeles County fighting against the Bush administration. This is some of the people fighting against the government. Here's proof of it. So Los Angeles County, that doesn't have money for arresting and trying criminals, has found money to get money to their illegal immigrants. Some of the people fighting against the government, this is the county government fighting against the federal government. On to the next one. Rutgers leader demands TPUSA officers be ousted after they called out Antifa-linked professor. So what is this? This is our colleges fighting against Trump. Everybody seems all the left hates Trump. You ask them, well, why do they hate him? Oh, he's a fascist. He's a Hitler. Well, can you tell me specifically what he's done? They don't like. They don't have issues. They just hate Trump. Two Turning Point officers have called out a professor at the university who is linked to Antifa, and they're kicking them out. Again, colleges, and this is not just the first place. We've seen Brown University, Columbia University, Harvard University fighting against the government. Here's another one. California using backdoor to get federal funds to illegal immigrant such as health care. So allowing California to use a loophole to draw down funds from the federal government to help pay for the state's ballooning cost of health care for illegal immigrants. Again, some of the people is not just normal people. This is leadership among America fighting against the federal government. And there's more. House Democrats storm Speaker Johnson's office, demanding he swear in Democrat representative-elect, but Johnson was not in his office when they went there. And the point is here. So there's still like 95 people that the Democrats won't vote in. These are people that are supposed to be servants or officers of Trump, and they won't vote them in. But yet they expect the Democrat people and their people to get voted in. So here's what they did. This is them marching over to Speaker Johnson's office, and one person says, "What is he afraid of?" And they all answer, "Epstein." What is he afraid of? Epstein. I didn't think there's enough time and trouble to go in and actually dig up the video. But the point is, it's another thing we're seeing people in America fighting against the government. Now let's go to death of the dollar. Bank of America, no less. Okay, I think this is the largest bank in America, right? Okay, I think that's correct. Bank of America calls for $5,000 gold and $65 silver per ounce in 2026. They're saying the dollar's about to crash. Okay, so again, the price of gold does not go up. It's the value of the dollar goes down. In the days of Abraham Lincoln, a 1 ounce gold coin would buy you a nice suit of clothes. Today, a 1 ounce gold coin will buy you a nice suit of clothes. The value of gold does not go up or down. It's the purchasing power of the dollar. He goes on to say, Bank of America expressed prices reached $5,000 for gold, $65 an ounce for silver. What does that mean? Well, I can't tell you to go and buy gold and silver. That would be breaking the law. I'm not a financial counselor. I have not been certified, so I can't tell you. But I can tell you it's a good idea to call 800-200-GOLD. Ask these folks, tell them your situation. Hey, I got a pile of money here. I got a pile of money there. I got this. I got that. Am I okay, or can I lose this? Just ask them, can I lose this? If the stock market were to crash, can I lose it? If the dollar were to die, can I lose this? What do you suggest? Especially if you got an IRA or a 401k, you owe it to yourself. Don't lose your life savings. Don't do it. Call them and see if they can say, I got a better plan. Or maybe I got a better plan for some of it, okay? Now let's go on to the next topic. You remember Henry Gruver had a vision. Now who's Henry Gruver? Of the 160 guest speakers we had over 25 years, making 330 DVDs, he is both Leslie and I's favorite speaker. I think he made more DVDs with us than any other person, and we knew when Henry Gruver said God spoke to him, we absolutely knew it was true. So Henry had a vision, which I've read many times, I won't read it again, and it was really talking about how Trump is going to be king. Well, watch what is said about an internal revolution. You can go to nokings.com. I did. And here's what I find on their website. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. Why do you suppose they're saying no kings? See, I think that the left somehow, I don't know exactly how, but somehow has the ability to see the future. I don't know if it's like a visionary thing. I don't know if they have a time machine. I heard a story that when we went into Afghanistan, in one of the caves, they found this thing. And it's a big round thing, like about 8 foot across. Took 2 or 3 men to lift it. But they started moving it, and the thing started turning on. I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden, in the middle of it, images started forming, and they were images of future events. They discovered kind of how to control it. Now, my guess is, and I'm just guessing, my guess is somehow they're able to see the future. And this is not the first, this is the second time, at least the second time I've heard that these No Kings rallies are going on. And they're real serious about it, because if you go to the I think it's nokings.com, it might be nokings.org, who cares? But these are the cities that are planning these big rallies. Not a small thing. They're saying that some 2,000 of these rallies are supposed to be taking place. When? The next one is this Saturday, but it's not the last one. Oh, it's not the last one? No. You can go there and you can click on this and you can watch several meetings that they've had of Zoom meetings in the past, and they will train you. What do you mean train me? Well, they're going to train you on how to know your rights. De-escalation training is October the 15th. That's the day before. It goes on to say Wednesday, October 15th, which is today that I'm recording this. He says, before you hit the streets, join our Know Your Rights. Protest safety. Now, that's a typo. It's actually meaning protest safely, because later in the thing it has it corrected. Protest safely and de-escalation training. This October, communities across the country will mobilize en masse for the second No Kings National Day of Action. A mass mobilization against President Trump's abuses of power and federal crackdown on our freedoms. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with the internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two of the countries will attack and defeat America in 1 hour. Let's go on to read it. Together we'll send a clear message. The people will not be silenced. That's right. These are the people that God looks down and sees. Well, united we stand, divided we fall. This is the divided people, the divided nation. Not the United States, but the divided states. These are the people that will destroy America. To prepare, join ACLU's Protest Safety. Actually, Protest Safely. Again, it's a typo. Know Your Rights and De-escalation training on October the 15th, 7 p.m. This training will give you the tools to take action safely. See, there's the correct word. Safely, confidently, and with key de-escalation strategies in hand. Whether you're marching, rallying, or supporting from the sidelines, you'll learn how to protect yourself, your community, and stand up for your rights. In other words, you'll learn how to destroy America by fighting against the government. In the middle, it says, know your rights during protests and law enforcement encounters. Practical tools for safety and de-escalation in intense moments. Get prepared to take nonviolent action. Yeah, right. Nonviolent action safely, powerfully, and together. Build the knowledge and strength to support it. So they're actually training people on how to fight against the government. Let me say it again. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. What this is an organized, well-financed training to start an internal revolution. This is the start of what Dmitry was told August 3rd, 1984. I didn't see how it could start. Now, it started. But here I am, little prophecy club, trying to tell people, and they don't want to listen. The truth is, I ought to be on Fox News. I ought to be speaking in churches, me and my wife, telling them these things. But they don't want to hear it. See, the whole message of Dmitry Duduman, God's warning to America, has been thrown out the window. We don't want to hear this. We don't believe this. Well, as God told me in an audible voice, when those prophecies I gave your wife begin to come to pass, people from all directions will begin to turn and listen to your ministry. Well, there's a side of me that is looking forward to that day. But there's a side of me that doesn't want to see that day come. I don't want to see bad things come to our nation. Anyway, if you'll look there, there's all kinds of training, all kinds of protests. This is not the end. They're planning more protests in the future, too. So, in conclusion, I would say, pray for our nation. I would also say go to prophecyclub.com and join Fast Track and Fast Gap. I would say ask Jesus into your heart. If God has blessed you, you can help us out with a donation. This would be a really good time. It appears that that's the way we've got to make it. So anyway, and also, of course, by the time you watch this, I may have already been out of surgery, but there's still a recovery. So if you'll pray for my strengthening and success of the surgery, it's heart surgery. I mean, they go inside my heart to fix it. So it's no small thing. It's a big thing. So pray that everything is okay, and I'd appreciate that. God bless you. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these from EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. There's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your Prophecy Club. If you want to be on the end of making money, gold and silver is preserving your money. If you want to be on the end of making money, then you might want to call prophecyclubcrypto.com, or actually go to it, or call that number at the bottom right corner. Ask them about crypto if you're in the position where you can make money.